In the scorched remnants of Gaza, a humanitarian disaster of unprecedented scale continues to unfold, nearly 2 years after the escalation of conflict on October 7, 2023. What began as a response to Hamas's deadly attack on Israel, killing 1,140 people and taking hostages, has morphed into a relentless military campaign by Israel, drawing international accusations of genocide. Reports from the United Nations, human rights organizations, and independent analyses paint a grim picture. Tens of thousands dead, including a staggering number of children, widespread starvation, and the obliteration of civilian infrastructure. Yet, amid global outcry, key players in the Muslim world maintain trade ties with Israel, while the United States remains a steadfast ally. This article examines the allegations, the human toll, and the geopolitical dynamics sustaining this crisis. Israel's military campaign in Gaza has been marked by intense aerial bombardment, ground incursions, and a blockade that has crippled the enclave's 2.3 million residents. Estimates suggest Israel has dropped between 70,000 and 100,000 tons of bombs since October 2023, surpassing the combined tonnage used on Dresden, Hamburg, and London during World War II. 3440 This includes 2,000-pound bombs, often U.S. supplied, used near hospitals and civilian areas, raising serious concerns under international humanitarian law. 3638 The scale of destruction has led to catastrophic civilian casualties. Gaza's health ministry reports over 64,600 Palestinians killed, with thousands more missing under rubble. 50 The toll on children is particularly harrowing. Save the Children estimates at least 20,000 children killed, averaging 1 per hour. 46 UNICEF reports over 50,000 children killed or injured, describing unimaginable horrors. 44 The Washington Post notes Palestinian children dying at a rate exceeding 1 per hour. 51 Entire families, over 2,200, have been erased from civil registries. 40 Critics argue the bombing's intensity, described as among the most severe in modern history, goes beyond targeting Hamas. 37 Environmental damage is profound, with over 85,000 tons of explosives contaminating soil and water, posing long-term health risks. 39 Israeli officials insist operations are precise, aimed at dismantling Hamas's infrastructure, but groups like Amnesty International argue the pattern suggests a deliberate strategy to render Gaza uninhabitable. Beyond bombs, starvation stalks Gaza. Israel's control over aid entry points has led to what experts call an induced famine. The Guardian details how Israel calculated minimum calories needed for survival and restricted aid accordingly, causing widespread malnutrition. 47 UN reports confirm mounting famine evidence, with aid teams pleading for access. 43 The World Health Organization reports 74 deaths from malnutrition in 2025, many in July. 48 Al Jazeera notes over 360 hunger-related deaths, including 130 children, with 185 in August 2025 alone. 45 Save the Children calls the death of 100 children from starvation a needless tragedy. 52 6 more starvation deaths were recently reported. 50 The Red Cross describes the crisis as desperate, exacerbated by blockade. 49 The blockade, combined with destroyed farmland and water sources, has made survival precarious, with children facing acute malnutrition, stunting future generations. Israel cites security concerns over aid potentially benefiting Hamas, but international observers argue these restrictions violate laws of war, amounting to collective punishment. The term genocide is increasingly invoked. South Africa's case against Israel at the International Court of Justice (ICJ) in December 2023 alleged violations of the Genocide Convention. 12 The ICJ's January 2024 order found plausible genocide risks, mandating Israel to prevent such acts and ensure aid delivery. 10 May 2024 rulings called for halting operations in Rafah and opening crossings. 1314 Amnesty International's December 2024 report concluded Israel is committing genocide, citing systematic destruction and intent to eradicate Palestinian life. 18 UN experts link Israel's illegal occupation to genocide risks. 15 The International Criminal Court is considering arrest warrants for Israeli leaders. 17 Israel denies these allegations, calling them baseless and citing Hamas's use of civilian shields. 19 Yet, the ICJ's findings fuel global protests and demands for accountability. Despite Gaza's plight, many Muslim-majority countries maintain trade and normalization with Israel, prompting accusations of insensitivity. The Abraham Accords of 2020, normalizing ties between Israel and the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan, prioritize economic and security cooperation. 02 Brokered by the U.S., these pacts focus on countering Iran and fostering stability. 7 Trade with the UAE has reached billions, emphasizing tech, energy, and tourism. 6 Morocco and Bahrain maintain ties for counterterrorism and investment. 4 Governments cite economic growth, U.S. alliances, and diversification from oil, despite public sympathy for Palestinians. 13 Critics call this a betrayal, exploiting Arab divisions. 8 Al Jazeera urges a coalition of conscience to stop the war, decrying global insensitivity. 30 Saudi Arabia, while critical, explores normalization for U.S. security guarantees. 9 Countries like Turkey and Qatar vocally oppose Israel, but the lack of unified action, such as boycotts, reflects fragmented interests. Protests in Jordan and Egypt show grassroots anger, yet elites prioritize stability. The United States, ironclad, support for Israel persists, with billions in military aid and 42 vetoes of UN resolutions critical of Israel. 24 Israel serves as a strategic Middle East outpost, likened to a landed aircraft carrier. 26 Shared intelligence, arms trade, and lobbies like AIPAC reinforce this alliance. 22 U.S. public opinion is shifting, with Brookings noting declining support, especially among Democrats and youth, though 58% still viewed Israel's reasons as valid in 2024. 2125 Republicans remain steadfast. 23 Al Jazeera attributes U.S. loyalty to insecurity as a declining superpower. 27 The Atlantic Council warns defending Israel's methods risks long-term U.S. interests. 28 Biden's administration briefly paused arms but resumed, citing Hamas threats. 29 The BBC notes waning U.S. public support, potentially reshaping policy. 20 Gaza's crisis, bombs, starvation, shattered families, demands urgent action. Genocide allegations, backed by the ICJ and Amnesty, underscore the need for justice. Yet, trade-driven pragmatism in the Muslim world and U.S. strategic interests perpetuate the status quo. As deaths mount and famine spreads, the world must confront whether economic and political priorities justify such suffering. Without change, Gaza risks becoming a symbol of global failure.